Okay. Photoelectric effect. First of all, I will read a few lines from The Concept of Modern Physics by Weiser. He says that the energies of electron liberated by light depends on the frequency of light. This is the key statements for the photoelectric effect. Okay. What is the phenomenon? During his experiment on the electromagnetic waves, Hertz noticed that sparks occurred more readily in the air gap of his transmitter when the ultraviolet light was directed at one end of the metal balls. He did not follow up this observation, but others did. They soon discovered that the cause was electrons emitted when the frequency of the light was sufficiently high. This phenomenon is known as photoelectric effect, and the emitted electrons are called photoelectrons. Okay, that means what was the origin? In the Hertz experiment, he observed whenever the uh, metal balls are exposed to the ultraviolet light, then the spark occur more readily. What is the reason behind this? Hertz will not observe the further. He did not take the follow up, but others did, and they found that this is because of the interaction of high energy light, that is ultraviolet light, with that metal, and the phenomenon is known as photoelectric effect. Okay. Now we are aware about the photoelectric discharge tube or photoelectric tube. Here we can show you the experimental arrangement. Now this is a cathode. I will name this K. It is to be connected to the negative terminal at an instant. Then we will have to connect it to the positive terminal too. And if we apply some, here it is a current meter, and then the positive terminal of the battery is connected to anode. Now there is a window to expose the cathode by means of a light. Therefore the light is falling on it. Light is in the form of photon of energy h nu, and now we can make this potential difference variable. Therefore this is variable potential difference. The sign for variation represents the change in magnitude as well as a change in polarity. I will name this as the photoelectric current I, and this is the anode. Now this is the glass tube which is evacuated. It consists of a cathode and anode. Here there is a source of light for which we can change the intensity of light, and we can change the wavelength, that is the frequency of light. Now what is observed? It is observed that if there is no light falling on the cathode, then there is no current. Therefore we are measuring the emitted electrons, the number of emitted electrons, and energy or the trajectory of electron, whether the electron can travel from cathode to anode or not, in terms of current. Therefore current is a measure of electron, and it is obvious because we know that current is equal to rate of change of charge, dq by dt, and this charge is nothing but q is equal to number of electrons into charge on a electron, that is q into e. Okay, n into e. It is observed that whenever a light of certain frequency is allowed to fall on the cathode, immediately we can observe current through this discharge tube, and this current is because of the photoelectrons. These electrons are known as photoelectrons, and the effect is known as photoelectric effect. Actually we have gone through this photoelectric effect in 12th, therefore in short we can look at that. Now the emission of electron is measured in terms of current, and therefore I will plot the graph of current I against the frequency of incident radiation, that is incident light. And it is observed that up to certain frequency, obviously for any amount of accelerating potential, that is potential difference, for any potential difference and for any intensity, there is no photoelectric current. And once the frequency is beyond certain limit, suddenly there is increase in the current, and that current remains almost constant for further increase in frequency. Now we will have to note that there are different variables. What are the variables? One is the potential. We can accelerate the electron from cathode to anode by changing the potential. Another is the measure of current. Therefore, these two are the electrical parameters. Third one is the intensity of light, that is the source emits the light. And fourth one is the wavelength. Correct? Fourth one is the wavelength or frequency of the light. Therefore, either I can think about wavelength or frequency, because they are related with each other with a formula C is equal to lambda into nu. Correct? Not h nu. C is equal to nu into lambda, that is lambda into nu. They are related with each other. Okay. Means for given intensity and for given potential, the photoelectric current, means the number of photoelectrons, depend on the frequency. Up to certain frequency there is no emission of photoelectrons, and beyond that frequency the photoelectron emission begins, but there is no much increase in the number of photoelectrons as a function of frequency. Now this frequency is known as threshold frequency. Why it is so, we will discuss later on. These are the observations. Second thing is that now if I increase the potential difference, is there any increase or decrease in current? It is observed that no. Therefore, it is independent of potential difference. Almost it is same. But it is observed that the magnitude of current, that is what is the maximum amount of current, it depends on. Therefore, I can say that this is the maximum current. It depends on intensity of light. Therefore, if it is intensity to be 1, if it is intensity to be 2, and intensity 2 is greater than intensity 1. Okay, therefore we can say that for a given frequency, the photoelectric current increases with increase in intensity. It is independent of potential difference. Almost it remains same. Now to show that, I will draw one more graph. This is the graph of photoelectric current against the potential difference. Therefore, it is I against V. Now it is observed that if the frequency is below the threshold frequency nu, then obviously for any potential difference there should not be any current, and it is expressed in this graph. If the frequency is greater than that, if the frequency is greater than threshold frequency nu 0, then you will observe that with a 0 potential 2, there is finite amount of current. If there is no potential, there is no issue. There will be finite amount of current. Second thing is that as we increase the potential, there is no much increase in current. It remains almost constant. There is no much increase in current. See, here I have mentioned that if we increase the potential, then there is no increase in current, but the current increases with increase in intensity of light. Here also we can say that for a given frequency, I will name this as nu. Obviously nu 1, it must be greater than nu 0, otherwise there will not be any current. And you will observe that with a 0 potential 2, there will be current, and there is no much increase in current as an increase in frequency. But the interesting thing is that to make the current 0, that means to reduce the current to 0, we will have to reverse the potential. That means the cathode is to be connected to positive terminal, anode is to be connected to negative terminal, and we will have to retard the motion of electron towards the anode. And therefore, for the negative potential, it is observed that the current decreases slowly and at a certain potential it decreases to 0. This is known as stopping potential. I will name this as Vs, or sometimes it is referred as V0. It is stopping potential. The name itself suggests that the potential at which current is 0, that means it stops the electron. It repels the electron towards the cathode, and no electron can travel from cathode to anode, and therefore the current is equal to 0. Correct? Now, what happens if we increase the frequency? Though I increase the frequency, there is no much increase in current, because here we have observed that if I increase the frequency, then there is no much increase in current. The current may increase with a very small value, and therefore I can say that the same graph can be used to represent second frequency, that is nu 2. Therefore, for any frequency nu 1, nu 2 greater than nu 0, the potential and current graph, or graph of current against potential for positive side, is something like this. But it is interesting that if I change the polarity, then the graph is something like this. Therefore, here I can say that this is the stopping potential Vs2. I will call that Vs1. This is for nu 1, and this is for nu 2, which is greater than nu 1. That means if the frequency of light is greater or it increase, then the stopping potential increases. Now why it is so, we will discuss after some time. Okay, therefore this is the second graph, which is a bit interesting. It is a graph of current against potential. It says that for positive side, that means when the anode is at higher potential with respect to cathode, for any frequency there is no much increase or decrease, much change in current as a function of potential. But when the cathode is at higher potential with respect to anode, or moreover anode is at lower potential with respect to cathode, then the current decreases with increase in the magnitude of potential, and it reduces to 0 at stopping potential. The stopping potential is higher for higher frequency. That means nu 2 is greater than nu 1. Therefore, for higher frequency, stopping potential is higher. This is the second graph. Now, actually all points are covered in this second graph. But if we will have to think about the third type of variation, that third graph we can draw. It is the graph of stopping potential, say for example Vs, against the frequency. Correct? Against the frequency. That means for these values of stopping potential as a function of these frequencies. It is observed that obviously up to certain frequency nu 0, there is no issue of stopping potential. Stopping potential is 0 because there is no current. For any potential there is no current if the frequency of incident radiation is less than nu 0. But it is observed that the stopping potential goes on increasing as we increase the frequency. That means stopping potential goes on increasing magnitude wise as we increase the frequency. Therefore, this is a variation in stopping potential as a function of frequency. Fine. Now, Einstein put forward the relation between different parameters. We know that whenever we think about a photon, its energy is given by h into nu. Now, how we can explain the photoelectric effect? Suppose this is the cathode, then there are electrons near to the surface. These are known as surface electrons. They are bounded with the cathode, and obviously if one electron will remove from the cathode becomes positively charged, therefore it attracts, and therefore the electrons are bounded to the cathode. To remove an electron from the cathode, we need to supply energy to this, and it must be the greater than binding energy of the electron. Now, whenever the photon interact with the electron, it provides h nu amount of energy to the electron. A part of energy is utilized to overcome the binding energy, and remaining energy is carried out by electron in the form of kinetic energy. Therefore, here I can write the Einstein's photoelectric equation as h nu is equal to phi plus Ke. It is very simple. It is nothing but law of conservation of energy. The energy carried out by incident photon is utilized to overcome the binding energy, and remaining energy is carried out by electron in the form of kinetic energy. Now, if the kinetic energy to be zero, that means no emission is there, electrons are there attached to the cathode itself, then we can say that that energy is just sufficient to overcome the binding energy, and therefore the minimum frequency required is greater than nu zero. Nu zero is known as threshold frequency. That means if the frequency is greater than nu zero, then and then only there is a possibility that the electron has some kinetic energy and they can travel towards the anode. Here there is anode, correct? This is our cathode. Now I can write the kinetic energy of electron to be half mv square. Here I can write ve. V stands for mass of electron, correct? Now once you think about this to be a photoelectric equation, it is Einstein's photoelectric equation, then several things are easy to explain. Immediately we can say that, see, why there is no photo emission if the frequency is less than nu zero. It is very simple. The photon has not sufficient energy to overcome the binding energy, and therefore there is no issue of emission of photoelectron. Now as we know, the intensity of light depends on the number of photons. That is, it is in accordance with the corpuscular theory. It is not in accordance with the wave theory. Wave theory says that intensity is directly proportional to square of amplitude, but according to the corpuscular theory, intensity is proportional to number of corpuscles, or in case of the photon also number of photon, and hence though I increase the frequency, the number of photon interacting with the electron will remain same, and therefore the same current is there because n remains constant, number of electrons remain constant, and hence we can say that there is no much increase in intensity as a function of frequency, but I increase there is no much increase in current as a function of frequency, but as I increase the intensity, obviously there is increase in current for a given frequency. That means it is independent of frequency, and hence we can say that the current is independent of frequency. It is independent of potential too. Why it is independent of potential? See, basically current depends on number of electrons, and number of electron is decided by the number of photons. It is not decided by the potential difference. They may accelerate with large acceleration if I increase the potential, but the number will remain so constant, and therefore there is no increase in current with increase in potential. Why it is so? We can refer the equation. Suppose the frequency is large, this nu is large, the work function is same for a given cathode. Therefore, the electron will be emitted with larger kinetic energy. They may rush from the cathode to anode with large velocity, and to stop them, we need to have a large potential difference. And therefore, for the zero potential too, there is current, and we need the reverse potential. That means cathode is to be connected to positive terminal, anode is to be connected to negative terminal to stop the electron towards anode and to bring the current to zero. Now the kinetic energy of the electron from cathode to anode will increase if there is increase in the frequency in linear manner. See, we can say that it is y is equal to mx plus c. This is constant. Here it is velocity, square of velocity, or kinetic energy with slope 1. Therefore kinetic energy increases with increase in frequency, and therefore we can say that in the third graph we can observe that if the frequency is going on increasing, then the stopping potential, required potential to stop the electron is also increasing, and there is a linear variation. Correct? We are aware about that because the energy is V, E into V is the energy gain or dissipated by the electron when it travels from cathode to anode. Suppose it is accelerated by the potential, that means if anode is at higher potential, it is energy gained by the electron, or if anode is at negative potential and if electron begins to travel towards the anode with certain kinetic energy, then the electron has to lose that energy till it reaches the anode, and therefore it could not reach to the anode, and therefore current is equal to zero. Therefore we can explain this graph. Now this is about the photoelectric effect. Now actually in 12th you have gone through the photoelectric effect. It was the revision of the content from the 12th standard. Thank you.